And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Cosmas. Thanks for joining me today for a quick chat and, of course, our morning cup of coffee. And this past Sunday was the Sunday of forgiveness. So we're in the first week of Great and Holy Lent. I thought I would talk a little bit about forgiveness for today because that's the last theme of the Sundays of preparation for Lent, and it's a big one. There's a reason that that's what we're thinking about the day before Lent, because no matter what we're trying to do in Lent, whether we're trying to go to church more or fast or pray or perform works of mercy, if we have difficulties with people in our hearts and in our minds, all of what we're trying to do is going to be built on a foundation that is unstable. Because at any moment, those bad feelings can rise to the surface and undo everything that we're trying to accomplish in the spiritual life. So it's of paramount importance that we forgive one another. We have to forgive people. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some practical things to do with forgiveness. And so the first thing is that we have to practice forgiveness. And what I mean by that is we don't practice pardoning, right? We practice forgiving. So when we want to forgive someone, we sort of say, please forgive me. We never initiate by saying, guess what? That thing you did to me, that really ticked me off, but I forgive you, right? That's pardoning. That's not going to go well if you say that to somebody, right? That's just going to bring everything back up to the surface, probably get you in another confrontation and make things worse. So we don't pardon, right? We forgive. And when we say we forgive, we ask for forgiveness. We never say to someone, I forgive you, unless they want our forgiveness and they ask for it. They say specifically, hey, I want you to forgive me. Then you might be in a position to say, oh, okay, I have to say, I forgive you. Otherwise, don't ever do that. Say, please forgive me. And people say, well, what about the circumstances? What if I didn't do anything wrong? It doesn't matter. In this way, we want to be perfectly selfish and say it doesn't really matter who's right or wrong. What matters is my spiritual life. And I want God to forgive me. So if I want God to forgive me, I have to forgive others. That's the most important thing. And that's the conditional statement of forgiveness we always say in the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, right? So, God, please forgive me, but that's dependent on me forgiving others. And because I'm a sinner and I want God's forgiveness, I have to forgive others. It doesn't matter if they deserve my forgiveness. Who cares? I want God's forgiveness, so I'm going to forgive them. And I want peace. I don't want to be bothered with it. So who cares about right and wrong? Just ask for forgiveness so that you've relieved the burden off of yourself, you've lightened your heart, and by doing that, you're going to receive God's forgiveness, and you're going to receive it even more if you were right and they were wrong. Even better. Now you've humbled yourself and asked for forgiveness. That's a two-fer in the spiritual life. That's what we want, forgiveness and humility. That's great. But that doesn't mean that you need to be a complete doormat, because people say, well, then I just need to let people going around and abusing me all the time. And, is that what I'm supposed to be doing? I have people in my life that are very abusive. Do I just keep letting them abuse me and ask for forgiveness? Well, maybe if you're a saint, you might be able to pull that one off. Most of us are not, and that's going to end up with resentment and bad feelings. So we also want to be, and this is the last thing I'll say, we want to be wise in our forgiveness, right? We want to forgive people, and we always will do that an unlimited amount of times. However, you don't have to put yourself in a position where you can be abused repeatedly, keep banging your head against the wall, and forcing yourself to forgive that person. At some point, learn from the mistake and say, this is a person that I can't be around unless I'm going to be abused and have to forgive them. So you know what? Maybe I'm not around them as much. And just sort of say, I'm going to avoid that interaction if I need to, so that I don't have to put myself in a bad situation. We want to forgive, but we also don't want to be self-destructive and masochistic, right? We want to make sure that we're forgiving people because we all make mistakes. We all want to be forgiven. And ultimately, we want God also to forgive us. And we want Him to do that each and every day. Amen.